Hello, this is Nereida La Sirena with Celestial Soul Wellness, and thank you for watching. Today we're talking about the full moon in Scorpio. Well, we have a lot going on with this full moon in Scorpio, but just to get to the Sabian symbol right away, the Sabian symbol is um, obeying one's obeying his conscience. A soldier resists orders. And that's really interesting because this is a time you have a soldier, someone who has given and devoted their loyalty, their honor to the government, to a higher purpose, blindly being led to certain agreements. When we think of protecting the majority, I was in the military for 8 years. So I'm coming from a background, I'm not haphazardly saying things. So being very aware, when they really encourage young people because they are still easily molded. They're not so thinking on their own yet. They don't question authority as much, and they want to make a stance. They want to prove themselves and impress, okay? Usually people in their 40s and older, they're like, I don't need to impress anybody. I know who I am. But people who are younger, still in their 20s and 30s, are still trying to like prove themselves. What am I worth? What can I have done? Okay. That their life it has some worth and they're contributing members to society in a positive way, right? So in this case here, what's going on when we have a soldier who is resisting orders and but obeying his conscience, he is now developing, he is coming into himself. He is realizing that the orders are coming from a human being. A human being, no matter who it is, even if it's an older person, a stronger person, or in general, what we might call, or in general, haha, the pun, no pun intended. Someone who might be more developed or knowledgeable can be prone to err. It's very important. That's why in this day and age, it's very important we create our own opinions and that we are not just blindly following circumstances that the politics are initiating or some person who claims, okay, that they are very well read. A person could be very well read in one topic, but if they don't know how to apply it in different areas of our life, then it's obsolete. It doesn't have any meaning for us. And so it can actually confuse and really beguile people. They mislead them. And so it's very important to whom are you listening to? Are you listening to someone who is well lived, worldly, who has experienced life on different levels? Or are we listening to people who only have a one-sided mentality? And I'm really right now emphasizing Christianity. I love the teachings of Jesus Christ. My gosh, he's one of the ascended masters. It's incredible, and I love the expression, what would Jesus do in certain circumstances? Yet there are a lot of preachers, ministers, priests who really need to shut the F up because they have no idea how they're interpreting the Bible, especially with their limited language backgrounds and don't understand the origins of certain words. When you're dealing with someone like me who is multilingual, who has studied in languages and realized the origins of the words and the bad translations of certain scriptures in the Bible, then it comes to realize that they really do not know how to interpret. They're interpreting things literally and misguiding. Do you know that there is really um, uh, Jesus Christ doesn't have anything negative to say about homosexuality, doesn't even bring it up. Peter might. He had some issues. We all know that because remember how he treats Mary Magdalene, right? So he's very misogynist and very misogynist towards the feminine energy. So we have to really realize what is who's the source, okay, when we are taking orders or we're listening. And so the Sabian symbols really getting us to open our eyes is who is the source that we're getting information? Why are we feeling a certain way? Okay. And this full moon that's happening, it's happening at 21 degrees Scorpio. And it's right there conjunct Sappho, and it's conjunct the fixed star Zubin Shamali. Zubin Shamali means in Arabic the northern claw. Okay. So it's the northern claw that was part of what used to be very extended Libra constellation. That's why people think there was many more zodiac signs. Let me tell you, in Vedic astrology, which is Eastern astrology, which is different than Western astrology, and it's based on the moon and not on the sun, there are 13 signs. Yes, okay. I get people go, oh, don't you know you're on? I have people who don't know anything about astrology approaching astrologers and then claiming they're wrong. And you're looking at them going, that's like fat people giving advice on health. Go to the source, go to the healthy people, the knowledgeable people. Okay. It's no. All right, because they're not going to give the full information. Giving superficial information at this time can actually hurt people. So if you are not well knowledged, okay, or you have your Mercury in the second, I would say in the third house, or if you have or in Gemini, be wary of the information you are giving. Yes, it sounds intellectual. Yes, you sound good, but people are listening and you could be misguiding them. There is a responsibility, like they say, was it in Spider-Man? Spiders fall under Scorpio. With every responsibility, every power comes great responsibility. And the power of knowledge and how you distribute it is so important at this time. Okay, so we have the full moon next to Sappho. Sappho is that genius bisexual lesbian. And I say lesbian because coming from the island of Lesbos, but bisexual because she had a daughter. Okay, she actually had a daughter. So either she was heterosexual who turned completely gay, or she was always bisexual. Okay, or just dealt with it and wanted to have dealt with the sexual intimacy with a male just to be able to conceive because she was still female. Just because one is um, gay does not mean they don't have mother or father instincts, okay? They could still have those. That has nothing to do with the what's one's choice of sexuality, that there's a big difference. And just because someone is heterosexual doesn't mean that they're going to be good parents. Okay, it's very important, especially in this day of time. We have a lot of females who are rejecting being mothers. They don't want to breastfeed, they don't want to interact with their children. And so that is also an understanding. Be aware these things, conditions cause physical illness. Whatever we reject within ourselves, it shows on the outside. So whatever the outside is going on is projecting what's going on inside. Breakouts, we're detoxing. The body is getting rid of certain areas. Remember, so any aches, pains is a reflection of how we are treating ourselves on the inside. All right, before we go, and this is very important because as a health coach and nutritionist, I always go back to health because not so much for the length, the longevity of our life, but the quality. Can you jump? I was skipping around today when we went for our walk, it was great, hugging trees, and I'm loving it. And I mean, I'm hitting 50 pretty soon, and it feels good that I am, and I'm very proud of it. I remember before when I was younger, I used to lie about my age in my 30s and say I was younger. My sister would be like, "Why do you lie? Why do you lie?" May she rest in peace, love her to pieces. Her anniversary of her death is coming up soon on the 17th. But point is I'm very thrilled about my age, and I don't have to go through that trying to impress anybody. I've gotten my degrees. I've gone through the Navy, and so these are things too that Sappho represents, and it's really encouraging. Now the thing is um, It's right there with the Zubin Shamali star, fixed star. And that green star, just a little bit trivia, is the only star that shows up naked to the green eye. Green to the naked eye. That sounded funny, huh? Maybe that was a supposedly supposed Freudian slip, being moon in Scorpio, okay? So green to the naked eye. Good fortune, high ambition, benevolence, a lot of honors and riches, and wonderful happiness. So if you were born within, I mean, at 19 degrees Scorpio, that's, you have that high psychic abilities. The only thing is, if you have anything squaring or opposite of that, it can bring psychopathic tendencies, like Charles Manson. Okay, he has, I think it was squaring or opposite, but let's not get too much detail. But just giving an example. But what's important to understand is you have all this wonderful energy going on. It's a lot of sexuality. I always talk about Taurus being sensual, but in this case, there's a lot of sexuality, okay? There's in the air, and wanting to be ravished and wanting to ravish others also. Okay, so please be aware of your limits and boundaries, and please be aware that it is a very sexual time, but that doesn't mean you could go screw with someone's head and say, oh, well, didn't you hear the news? It's a sexual time. We're not having an ongoing relationship, okay? Be aware and know with every power comes a responsibility. Make sure everybody's on the same playing field as you, whomever you decide to interact sexually with, okay? And otherwise, there is consequences and karma, lack of communication. Okay, you're saying, well, you're an adult, you should know. No, I mean, let me tell you, when I say I want to go have some tea and they bring me black tea, well, shouldn't they know that I drink white and green tea or red tea? I don't drink black tea. At what time? If I didn't communicate that. Everybody is different. We're not cut from the same cloth. We need to remember that. Okay, we cannot assume. We're naturalists in my family, so if people have issues with that and they say, I'm it's like, oh, whoa, 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 just because you can't handle what's going on with you, that's offensive to us. Can't impose it upon us. All right. Now, also too is there's a lot of healthy eating going on. So we have to understand how we are communicating. All right. And if you're not sure, then you go ahead of time. We talk about healthy eating. So, like if there's an event and I want to hang out with the people and they're going to have food, well, instead of going there for the food, I eat food ahead of time that I can eat that's healthy, that's gluten free, sugar free, just all natural. So that way I don't have to have any pains or encounters because I'm actually going for the company to get to know people, catch up on items, and not for the actual food. So we have to remember what's going on in our lives. And that's important because we have Sybil and the sun, that's opposite. Anytime we have a full moon, the sun is going to be opposite. So we have Sybil, which is the earth goddess. Okay, and very important because today is Mother's Day in many countries around the world, including Mexico and Latin American countries. And Mother's Day in the Western society started off with a more or less a tribute to the goddesses, which trickled down to the human beings. Yay! Okay, woo! So one of a tribute like for Sybil, okay, originally from Phrygia, okay, which is the Anatolia, Turkey area. And so other names for Sybil is also known as Mother Gaia, Magna Mater, Rhea, Demeter, okay? And this Mother Gaia, this Sybil energy is really the harvest, the goddess of the harvest, not of the gluten, bad gluten of here in the United States, but of good harvest, okay? Is the earth, the Mother Earth, all right? The protector of cities, and fertility, just being, um, there's a difference again with sexuality and fertility. One can be very sexually intimate, sexually active, and not be fertile whatsoever. And one can be very fertile and limited sexuality and just have children. There is a difference, though it is using the same parts have two different results. Okay, you can have in many cultures in the olden times. I feel like that Friends episode where what's that Phoebe would say in the time of uh, year, you know. Um, so in those times, that if there was a better possibility of conceiving a child if the woman orgasmed, okay, and so there was some type of midwife to encourage that and guide the gentleman in the process. There was actually other females there. It was very typical. It was something very to help out and ease the other female. So some take it as a perversion, going, "Oh, well, there's two women, one, woohoo, that's what I want." Really understanding the difference and the purposes, is very important. But there's more and more being aware and openness of and embracing those different ideologies because we understand and seeing the positive results of it. Okay, so also too is the rejection of toxins. Remember, the toxins, Scorpio is rules the spleen area, rules the sacral chakra, rules the reproductive system. Thing is, the spleen area, which goes to the pancreas also, carries on the toxins from the liver. So remember, the liver takes at least 4 days to detoxify just one drink, alcoholic drink. So if you are having more than one alcoholic drink and you're putting other toxins, never mind the stuff you put in your hair, your face. Remember, a lot of body odor is caused by what we put in our body, what we put on ourselves, what we put in our hair. And so one has to pick their poisons, okay, because it's very difficult. I know that I try not to do so much on my face because I do put I love my curls. I just love them to pieces. So I do put stuff to attempt to enhance the curls, and but as natural as possible, and by eating healthy, so that way we don't have those odors. Then you don't have to then go put deodorant, perspirant on. That causes even more harm to the body. Remember, all those stuff we're putting, masking, instead of ingesting in the first place just healthy natural food, like melon. Do you know how good melon is for the skin? Mm, okay. Do you know how good papaya is for the digestive system and reproductive system? So eat the colors of the rainbow and you stay healthy, very much. Remember, the color of the fruit is going to represent the chakra system, the chakra within the system. Very easy way to tell. And I bring that up because Sibyl's about being healthy. And being in Taurus right there, we're talking about the sensuality, our senses. Make sure being healthy doesn't mean dieting. I haven't dieted in ages. I just eat very healthy. I enjoy my nuts. I enjoy some good healthy fats. And I look forward to it. I know that we're making today, being Mother's Day, my son's making this wonderful salad and with this creamy guacamole sauce we made and putting some nuts in that salad. No fruit in salads. We never mix fruits and vegetables. Remember that, because you create acid in the body, which is acidosis, which is the beginnings of disease, illness, aches, pains. Okay, so always remember that. So another thing going on with this full moon, okay, is there's intense experiences going on, personal experiences. We have Juno that's conjunct Pluto right now, and it's opposite Amor, the asteroid Amor. Yes, we do have an asteroid, and it's exactly opposite of the asteroid. Well, yeah, of the asteroid Amor, which is Pluto's in Capricorn, conjunct Juno in Capricorn, and Amor is in Cancer at 1920 degrees. So it's a great time to deal with any addictions right now, releasing, getting rid of stuff. Um, you have Jupiter that's giving that saying Jupiter, anytime Jupiter is involved, it's not as bad as other planets because Jupiter is beneficial, even if it's squaring. So trying to keep that balance of sweets is very important, okay? And really releasing the any kind of addictions and hurting ourselves. And that's very important because it is making a cardinal cross with the Lilith in Aries, okay? So we can mess with ourselves. I know I've done that where I'm like, well, if I just have a little, you know. My son made these wonderful um, gluten-free cupcakes yesterday. Oh my God, they were so delicious. Mm, buttered them up wonderfully. Now, earlier I had this big old thing of lentils, so I had a lot of fiber and I eat a lot of fruit, you know, and so I have a lot of fiber, but sometimes if I have too much fiber, it can sit like a rock. So last night when I went to sleep, I woke up and there was it felt so much, and not because necessarily the cupcakes by itself or the lentil, but because of too much when we overindulge even in something healthy. So be aware of that. We need that balance, okay? And that was my fault. He felt bad. And I'm like, no, mijo, that's not your fault. I chose to put all that in my mouth, even though it was healthy, okay? He didn't. And that was something I need to be aware of, okay? Even though it's healthy, I got to balance that and be aware. So, what else is going on in the astrology is that we are having a lot of energy going on. We have a Saturn that just went past over the galactical center, and it's in retrograde until the end of August. And it is trining Mercury that's conjunct Uranus. So we got this nice little. Some people go, why do you have to mention all the technical part? Well, other people are learning. They got to, and they got to know why I'm saying this. Or am I just, you know what, you're blindly going to listen to what I say? Well, thank you for your trust, but I'd rather be able to support it, okay, with scientific technical details. And that means I know a little bit more, okay? So we got this right here, okay, conjunct, and it's going here. So it's trining, and we're getting a lot of energy. So we have Uranus, sudden movements, all right? Uh, Mercury, shocking news. I know we had something about Trump decided to fire the FBI bureau director, the ones who were investigating his group there. That's one way to not be investigated or have your buddies investigated. Kick him out, right? So almost it's practically saying I am guilty, you know, when you do something like that. So he's declaring that he has something to hide. Okay. Mm. Radical changes right now happening. Okay, I don't know why I do that. I know it's so silly. I'm talking. I want to taste. Shouldn't talk with your mouth full, but I want to taste. It's delicious. So, radical changes being awoken to, and having people speaking up more. Okay, could be more yelling, and be aware of that. There's more energy behind that. If you're a loud person naturally, like I am, my Mercury is in Leo, so I project. I was a teacher for 20 years, so when I'm in a room, I am very aware to speak, okay, on the level that I'm going to be heard. Some people might be like, why is she yelling? And whereas I'm just used to it too. I come from a family, my biological mother, and I have a brother who has their Mercury also in Leo. So in a household with people in Leo, Mercury and Leo, you know, the way we express ourselves very loud, the roar, you kind of get loud also so that way you can be heard, okay? So other people though might take that as like, ah, ooh, that sounds loud. You don't have to yell at me. Well, also remember too, there's a different way if they're like projecting anger or attitude. So also too is, you know, be aware of the source, be aware of the situation before accusing at this time is very necessary. Instead of being reactive, reactive is what immature young children do. They're on an emotional basis. The difference in what we would like to do and what we like to claim as adults, right, is that being mature, we can think on a logical sense. And if we realize that on an emotional sense, that our inner child and our ego is having issues, is to take a step back and go, okay, what's going on? What's my issue here? Shouldn't take this personally. There was a situation going on. and it was rapid, and they needed to hurry up and get me, and now I'm getting mad. They yelled at me. Okay, it's not personal. Just let it go and pick your battles, because a lot of times a lot of people will be expressive at this time and very loud, but again, come from an emotional sense, I mean a logical sense, not an emotional sense, using more your conscious mind. So during this time, there's a lot of intensity in the way one expresses. The one thing though is in Aries, having that Mercury and Uranus in Aries, it goes out quick. It's a firecracker. Like a fire rocket, it's not a volcano that continues. It doesn't have a lot of endurance, all right? So a lot of times when people just get it off their chest and they're like, oh, I feel better. And that's when they go, oh, I didn't mean what I said. They do. They do. Their ego, rationally, logically, they didn't mean it. Anytime people say that rationally, logically, it kicked in after their reactive, their inner child and ego kicked in. So a lot of times we need to hold back and get that logic. And instead of I remember I knew someone who always be, but what about me? How come I have to always? It's like, that's because of your perspective. One needs to change that perspective and not feel that you're being on the attack and realize that we cannot control others. Okay. If someone chooses to keep throwing things, okay, we need to get out of the way. That's how we're going to be able to. It is up to us. We can only control ourselves, and up to us to do our movements. And that's very important because we do have Mars in Gemini at 14 degrees, and it's really quick moving. Okay. And so at the same time, though, if we are not being careful, all right, if it's quick moving, that's when sometimes you're like, ah, that hurt, I got a kink in my neck because you moved too quickly, all right, or you didn't take a firm step, and your ankle or so your nervous system, okay, during this time, people's nervous system is really not grounded. Grounding yourself is very, very important, okay. Let's see here. We still have Neptune that's sextiling Pluto, so it's really giving that, allowing all those emotional stuff to come out. It's a good time to heal it. Reiki is not really being supportive in the sexual aspect, but it's being very supportive in trying to find balance. So yes, there's an asteroid named Reiki, and me being the healer that I am, I always include it's very important. Okay, other things going on as society. Venus is in Aries, so people are loving fast, falling hard. And what someone was telling me, they love hard. It's like that's not loving hard. When the person is treating you like crap and you love her, what's going on is you like, or you're very attracted to that one way they make you feel, and that's it. Okay, and a lot of times when that's happening, anytime we do that, we have to remember they are representing what we are not giving ourselves. Okay, so whatever it is, maybe we just really love that they cook all this thing and it makes us feel so good. Well, that's because we're not doing it for ourselves. How responsible are we being to ourselves? Okay. When we are balanced in our divine feminine and our divine masculine energies, we are in relationships for a companion and enjoying life, but not on relying, okay, for the lack that we are depriving ourselves. That is not love at all. That is being energetically dependent on others because we are starving ourselves. And a lot of times we starve ourselves because we just don't know how to, okay, love ourselves, or how to feed ourselves, or how to do a certain thing. So we're hoping someone else can see through, okay, whatever pain that and whatever trauma, drama, shock situation that annihilated ourself from giving to ourself, because that's really what's going on. So let's continue with the horoscopes for today. Well, actually, that's more or less. I'm not going to do the individual horoscopes because keeping everything in balance, knowing. All it says is the individual if we really keep balance and stay flexible within being rooted, watching our reactions, questioning our reactions, saying, why am I taking this so personal? You know, being aware of how we are, being aware of our sensitivities, and growing through the sensitivities so that way we can further and amplify our boundaries so we don't have such narrow limits and boundaries. Anybody who has very limited, narrow, uh, limited limits and boundaries is because they do not trust in themselves and their reactions. So they try to control all around them. Okay. And usually those are going to be a lot of feminine energies. And yes, men can have feminine energies. It's the shadow side of the feminine energies, the beta. Okay. Well, you see people who are more easygoing are ones who trust in themselves, who know themselves. They physically are very aware of their capabilities. They're very developed doing multiple physical activities. They're developed in many mental activities, even perhaps musical and philosophical and independent. So usually those who are not are the ones who try and control others. And it's a misbelief because a lot of times we're like, oh, if they're a bitch, they got some. Usually the bitches and assholes are the ones hiding something, and what they're hiding is their insufficiency, their lack of confidence, and being able to cooperate and cohabitate in this world with confidence, courage, and bravery. And at this time, we should then have compassion for those people and understanding without allowing them to walk over us, knowing our limits and boundaries too. Because just because someone is hurting doesn't mean we allow them to walk over us. Okay, because they need to, if they're hurting, number one thing is they need to go to a life coach like me, or a relationship coach, or a therapist, okay, a psychologist, to really deal with their issues. We all have issues, okay? It's when we impose our issues on others because of our because of our insecurities, our lack of courage, bravery, and self love. That is when it becomes a problem and it's not okay. So, keeping all that in mind, being aware that this is a time there'll be ideas of taboo controversies. I know I wanted to post something on Facebook, but I'm going to wait. But where naturalists are really standing up more and saying, hey, if you're offended because of my body, yet you're not offended of all the pain that's on the screen. When you watch TVs, you go ahead and let your kids watch killing and all this, and even in cartoons, yet you're offended on me just being naturally who I am if I'm not being in a sexual form. And I really agree with that and understand that we should never be ashamed of who we are. Okay. The reason you have people who are so immature with their bodies and their adults is because they have never learned to accept and appreciate who they are, okay, from children. And that's very sad because right there we are denying the person a right for existing. We are instilling guilt for just existing. And the original sin is not their existence. The original sin, okay, is that people cannot separate and appreciate that we are souls in a body. That is the original sin. Is not appreciating the number one transportation system by treating our bodies badly, okay, in the name of a religion, in the name of martyring ourselves, which is wrong, wrong, wrong. Because if we cannot treat ourselves right, how can we treat others, and how others will treat us correctly? So this is Nereida La Sirena with Celestial Soul Wellness. Visit me at celestialsoulwellness.com. Do you know I am teaching now here in the city of Linwood, Hawaiian hula for kids, okay? And let's get that right in there. And also for adults on Fridays for adults from 7 to 8 p.m. And I teach a free yoga class on the beach on Wednesdays, okay, at Rosie's Dog Beach and the city of Long Beach. That's my contribution to society, okay, my community work that I do just because I like to do that. And I also teach yoga for the witches on Monday. On Mondays, I love them. And let's see. Besides, it's wine hula season again for Quipo Hula. So go ahead, give us a call if you need entertainment. See our website. Also to visit, you could go under Celestial Soul Wellness or nereidalasirena.com. Anytime too for your nutritional needs, health needs. If the prices seem high, I do group sessions. So go ahead and, split the price between five of you. And that would behoove you, and you get more, and you get to share the information, and then you have a group support system there. That is the way to do it. If you have any of your astrology needs, go ahead, look into the services, any of your healing needs. And I do the healing besides theta, AC consciousness, um, gosh, what else? A cosmic consciousness, Reiki, they say psychic K. I know I'm missing one or two, but I do a variety of healings depending upon the situation. There's if you go under services, there's there too. I also do psychic readings and tarot readings. Um, so median and also past life regressions. Okay. So please visit my website at Celestial Soul Wellness, and I invite you always to share this. If you like any part of this, please thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. I really appreciate it. You guys have been great. All donations of fruits, nuts, vegetables, coins, paper, like we say, okay, is always appreciated. We thank you very, very much. And your constructive comments, are wonderful. So go ahead and share and like. So this is Nereida La Sirena. Chasito.